Hello, everybody. I have a topic today that is near and dear to my heart, my journey, and it's oh so familiar. And it's been coming to me for a couple of days. Basically, this flow of information asking me to help express it out into the world. So hopefully it will resonate with some of you. I will share a bit of a personal story about this, and I'm going to entitle this From Agoraphobia to Wide Openness, because I at one time was basically what you would call agoraphobic, afraid to leave my house. And it's been a big topic for me as far as, being younger and having a lot of anxiety, stress in the world, and then wanting to hide away and finding a balance and really understanding how, both hiding and pulling away and going inward and going out and connecting with people, both of those things really serve us. But it's understanding how to find that balance. So if this relates to you, it could be basically anything in terms of feeling overwhelmed by people, by your job, by your family, by society. In the world that we live in, if you are keeping up with the pace of kind of the modern world, I'm sure you either feel that or you have felt that. If you are somebody who's still working, regular schedule, who maybe you have kids like I did and you're working full time and raising a family, or whatever it is that you're in the world full time, then I don't have to tell you the amount of stress and overwhelm and pressure that we can feel in this world. And then if you're somebody who, like myself, has already pulled away, gone through their, whatever you want to call it, whole, my one of my friends used to lovingly say, Kathy, they used to call this a midlife crisis. Well, thank God for midlife crises. So, we can come through and realize that we need to take time for ourselves and disengage from all of that. But if you're one of those people who has gone through that, eventually we kind of come back full circle to where our energy feels clear and clean, and then we have this newfound ability to connect without taking on energies. So the ability to go out in the world and connect and express and play. And, for me, it became more of a passion. So I've got a lot of friends who are, on this journey of realization that have had these big, huge embodiments where, kind of blows your mind and you don't feel like you're part of this world anymore. And so if you are in that group, just know that you definitely come back full circle into everything coming back into balance where you get to re-engage with the world in a whole new way. So whether you're in the either part of that phase in your life, I think this story that I'll share will help you. So one of the things I want to dispel here is kind of like a myth or a delusion, as far as when we look at people, there is a perception that we have of other people. Now, I've heard from friends, not just recently with the work I do, back when I taught yoga, back when I worked in the corporate world, as far as 15, 20 years ago, that would say, Kathy, you're like totally confident, or you're shy. What we see in other people on the surface is not always what is happening underneath. And even folks that are very energy sensitive or intuitive, I find often confuse their own energies with others. So they tend to project things onto other people, or if they see somebody expressing openly, for example, they might feel, oh, there's this energy I sense in them, but sometimes it's actually bringing up an energy in them. So there is a lot of mastery and confusion in getting clear on what's what and who's who and what's really going on. But, it might surprise people to hear that I was basically agoraphobic, because today I'm wide open. I put my stuff out publicly on YouTube. I'm willing to connect with whoever, is asking to connect, within reason. And I do have to, I have to kind of go through some times and get some people, tell some people to go away very nicely. But going back to when I was a child, I was very sensitive and I would hide, even to the point where my mom said her brother forgot that I was born. I was the youngest of 4 kids. So I was very, very shy, awkward, quiet. In going into school, I did not know how to make friends with other children. I was incredibly shy, to the point of where it's almost like a panic inside of you if you have to talk in front of others, or even if somebody says, "Hi, my name's so-and-so, who are you?" It's like terror. So I had a terror in connecting with other people, and certainly in, going in groups and things like that. As I grew into myself, we'll say I became a little more savvy with the world of manipulation and projection, having, I'll say, not had what I would consider a perspective of liking my childhood. I don't remember being very happy a lot. I think I was quite miserable, and that's probably part of it. But I do remember thinking this was a very harsh world, and people are kind of mean and scary, and being afraid to talk to people. So going into high school, I became like a real kind of rebel, kind of that attitude, like everyone and don't talk to me. And it was just like, a lot of people put off that really tough front because they're really sensitive. And it was perfect because, you can put on a hard, like, I'm a badass kind of exterior and projection, and people look at you like, whoa, wow, like she thinks she's cool. But, deep down, it was just all insecurity and fear, right? And so I kind of used that same sort of persona. As I left high school, I went into the business world, so I wanted to look very professional. So I dressed the part, acted the part, and acted very confident. I can remember being in meetings and just sweating profusely and trying to control my breath. By now I was doing yoga, and so yoga really helped me calm my nervous system and stay in my body. But as I went through the corporate years, I started when I was 16 working for this corporation that I ended up working for 22 years. So I climbed the ladder. I ended up dropping out of college. I told my professor to pound sand and walked out of class. That's how I quit college my second semester. Back to that attitude, right? Tell people off and push them away kind of a thing. So we all have different ways of protecting ourselves when we're very sensitive. So going through the corporate years, people would, like, when I would mention being nervous or, oh my God, I did this presentation, I remember my first presentation in front of a big group, maybe 50 people, and I had to give the P&L update, profit and loss. I think I was maybe a financial manager at that time. And my legs turned to spaghetti, and I thought the room started spinning and turning black. And I cut my presentation short about halfway through, wrapped it up, and made it back to my seat. And I was sure everybody noticed. And then people were like, wow, you did a great job. And I even asked a few people, and they were like, I couldn't tell a thing. So we get really, really, really good at putting on a strong front, okay? And, that's also why I have compassion for people that maybe seem standoffish or mean or harsh or reject other people that rip on other people and cut other people down because they're just feeling insecure in themselves. Or likewise, people that are shy and quiet and hide and whatever, because, deep down, I think within all of us, we have these aspects that feel small, powerless, unheard, that aren't understood, all these things. So anyway, I powered through this stuff, up until the end of my corporate career, which is when I woke up, remembered, holy shit, I am that I am. And I came here, I'm a spirit, not this mind and not this body. And that started a whole huge transformation. And through that, I really started opening up. Now, the past 20 years, I had been suppressing all of my emotions. Antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds, going out to happy hour a lot, working out a lot. I had a million hobbies. Stay busy, stay busy, stay busy. Keep pushing myself through it. Not exactly loving myself through it, pushing myself through it, and not exactly being willing to feel all these, what I thought were really scary emotions. When I started yoga teacher training in 2012, this is when my big kind of wake up was happening. I signed up for a meditation retreat because I had started trying to meditate, we'll say, and I ended up canceling because I was scared, because the lady said I couldn't bring a notebook and a pen, and I was deathly afraid of being alone with my own thoughts for 2 days with no distractions. And not just my thoughts, all of those emotions, that fear of people, that anxiety, that stress, that stuff that I had been taking pills or staying busy to try to either run away from or suppress, it was all bubbling up. And it was meant to bubble up. It was like, the pot is full, it's boiling over now, and you got to deal with this. And that was my wake-up call. And that's where I also had been diagnosed with different things. I had all sorts of deterioration in my body, yada, yada. So anyway, the first 20 years, it was suppression and avoidance. Upon waking up, I realized I have to feel all this. The key is feeling all this. And you guys, I'm sure already know all this. So I'm just bringing us through the story. But that's when it shifted, because it went from suppressing and avoidance to, it's time for all this to get seen, acknowledged, released, resolved, and I can reclaim my light, my energy, my health, my life, and actually become who I've always been, become who I really am, not all this other stuff. So as I quit my job, I was offered to teach yoga. I was asked to teach before I even took my exam or finished my teacher training. Divine timing, hello, and I began teaching yoga. And every day when I would drive in to teach one class a week, I would feel like I would throw up on the way there. And I would just say, well, if I throw up, I throw up. I just had committed to myself that I'm going to show up. I'm just going to show up and I'm going to do my best no matter what. And what happened was, as I was now meditating daily, I had been meditating for hours a day by now, and really just connecting with myself. I had done a lot of these audios, like I make the Shavasana series that gets you into your presence, your essence, disengaged from the world, where you really start feeling your true eternal beingness. And what happens when we do that, when we spend all this time connecting with ourself, our essence, our presence, it begins to expand and open up. You begin to expand and open up, where you've been like this from the outside world. You've been like protecting yourself from the energies, from the people, from the fear, from the anxiety, from the stress, the overwhelm. Your energy field becomes like this, and you feel not good. You feel anxious because all your energy is bottled up inside of you, stressed out. You might feel very depressed because it's all like a big lead rock now, instead of being like all out here, it's all thud inside of you. So as I started doing this, all these things that I share, and my energy field started opening up, The first thing I remember, really clearly is, I saw a discarnate spirit. We call it a ghost. It was my grandma. And I freaked out, started screaming, because I did not believe in angels, ghosts, any of that stuff. And this kind of sent me also along on my journey of meeting people and finding out, oh, okay, so, life isn't exactly what it seems. There is this is just a little reality bubble, and there's a lot more here than meets the eye. After that, the first real close connection I had was with Archangel Gabriel, who I'd be sitting and meditating, and I would just feel this presence, Gabby, this presence with me, connecting with me, just reassuring, almost like embracing me. And these were very, very, I'll say, dark and hopeless times in my human perspective. I was, my world was cracking and crumbling all around me. Even my perception of reality, the idea that angels are real, and I started to feel, hear, and see them, which just freaked my human self out massively, like very, very intensely. So from there, I started opening up. So I'm seeing and feeling and hearing all this stuff, and that can be overwhelming. So I felt very overwhelmed. And so as you open up more and more, if you are starting to meditate, or if you've gone through these huge embodiments, you have these moments where you become so sensitive, and maybe you're not seeing, feeling, hearing other, angelic presences, but you become very sensitive to the energies of the world. And that can be very, very tricky. That becomes part of the mastery through all of this. So learning how to become clear and free. My first commitment to myself when I met my facilitator he was an example. I worked with William Linville, and he was an example of just an embodied, realized master of love and wisdom. And, he was, we'll say, the example for me where I knew I wanted to be unaffectable, immune, clear, just totally able to dance in the densest areas of the world or with everybody and anybody and remain totally unaffectable. So that was sort of my passion, my first true, real passionate desire, you could say, through this process. We all have kind of our unique flavors, and mine was really to be clear and to be able to look at and dance with and connect with everything and anyone without being affected. So given that I welcomed that forth, of course I'm going to get that challenge. And so over the years, my energies, as I expanded, it became very loud. And by loud, I just mean you're feeling all the anxiety of the planet. So if you are meditating or anything, you're aware of this. And sometimes we mistake it for ourselves. You're feeling, right now you might be sometimes feeling just irritable. Well, there's all this fight energy. Everybody's battling. There's a lot of battle energy in the planet. I became so wide open so fast that it was a full-fledged, basically like agoraphobia. I couldn't leave my house. And this probably went on for about 6 months, where I had to leave 1 day a week to teach one yoga class. Thank God I had to teach that yoga class, because it got me out of the house. And like I said, I would feel like I'm about to throw up if I just thought about teaching. And I would literally come home from teaching class, and by the next day, my mind would already be like, I've got to teach again in 6 days. How am I ever going to leave this house? And just feeling this crushing, overwhelming energy blanket, this just overwhelm. The best word I have is overwhelm to describe it, an energetic overwhelm. So if you can relate to any of that, and I'm guessing my friends that have gone through their, whatever you want to call it, huge embodiments, big soul infusions, realizations, whatever, as we especially, sometimes I had these big embodiments of other aspects, we'll call it. You know, you've got oversoul, you've got all sorts of aspects as a multidimensional being, and we get these infusions of more of ourself and our source consciousness the more we expand. So then you feel very sensitive. And I had a hard time leaving the house. I actually one day had to shove my feet into shoes, and I was crying because I was, you know, you get fed up. What happens with this is if you get stuck, if you're somebody that likes to crawl in a hole, crawl in a cave, and then you have a hard time breaking beyond that energy, thankfully, eventually your essence, your spirit, it just like, it kind of expands through it, and you might find yourself being fed up. And one day I shoved my feet into some shoes. I didn't even have them on all the way, and I just pushed out the door and ran and walked down. I don't think I could even run at that point. I was might have been shuffling down the road. And I just said, I'm just gonna go, and I was bawling and sobbing, and then I barfed. Like all this fear just blah. And the wind was blowing, and I had long hair at that time, and it was all in my hair. It was pretty epic. But I just kept walking anyway. Even with that, I said, I'm going to the end of the hill, and I'm not stopping till I'm done. And several times on that walk, I felt like I would collapse. And I thought, maybe the neighbors will find me, and I'm going to go anyway. When I got back, after that, something left me. Some fear that was gripping me, that had its grip on me for a long time, was gone. Okay, and I went through many iterations of that, you know, over time. But so this is a little bit of a story of perseverance and why it's important to not let the grip of fear hold you back. If you're a cave dweller like myself, it's been a constant focus of mine to make sure that I keep stepping beyond my comfort zone, because it's very easy for me to hop back in my cave. First, 20 some, whatever, 30 years of my life, I pushed, but then when I opened up and went into this surrender with my soul, it's like my ability to push or act out of fear kind of went away. So I just have to consciously walk beyond the fear and just do it, step by step, moment by moment. And so it can feel very overwhelming. That's a very extreme example, but I figured most people might have some smaller case of that, or maybe you have like a full-blown fear. Now, the funny thing is, going back to the projection versus reality, the way most people perceive me, would be shocked. And so when you meet people and you see people, you don't know what's going on with them inside. And you might be one of those people that's so strong on the outside, but deep down you're feeling hopeless, or, I had this feeling deep inside of me back then. I remember just that it was like, just a kind of like a dark pit. And so I had a great life on the outside, everything you could imagine. But there's oftentimes a discrepancy, the way we project ourselves, because of course you don't want to walk around being like Debbie Downer, and so it's just good to be aware of that. So what I have found, though, through this constant state of opening up, is that's where all the gifts lie. I have not, ever since 2015, when I had the big initial realization, I haven't felt lonely. I don't get lonely. I don't need anybody else. I have everything I need right here within me, per se, but there is this passion, this desire, this expression that I came here to be. And there's a lot of gifts. There are so many gifts out there for us when we go beyond. Now, I've talked a lot about connecting with your presence, your essence, how that opens you up. So like the time alone is very, very important, especially when you are still getting in that space of opening, connecting, so you can feel that connection, that beingness 24/7. And so it's important to take that time by ourselves. So it's very sacred and important. But then it's like this dance of then going out into the world, connecting with people, connecting with others. Because honestly, we came here to do that. Of course, I came here first and foremost to wake up, to remember I am that I am, to embody, to recollect all my light, all my fragments, to embody that, to bring it through the physical. For me, that's my we'll call it overall reason for coming here. But that's just the beginning. That's just the beginning of life. And then how did we come here to live? Well, that certainly has to do with dancing with other people. Part of my journey, my direction, whatever, my soul purpose in this life, part of it, because it's all multifaceted, is I'm a stabilizer. I'm an energetic stabilizer. So bringing all this through my body the last decade has been about opening up and expanding to where, I'm expanded through much of the planet, and I feel what's going on as the planet's releasing, as people are releasing, and I'm helping to stabilize the energies. I don't have to do anything to do that except stay in my presence, stay in my essence, stay in my awareness, and breathe. I can't really do my job if I'm up here in my thoughts and off into so it's about being in your body. And that applies to everyone, no matter what your journey is in this lifetime. Being in your beingness, in your body, and your awareness is where all the magic starts. It's where all the information comes to you, all the knowingness, and all your clarity. So, going beyond that alone time, though, it's like there are all sorts of unfoldments that are waiting for us. And the way that we get those gifts is by opening up and connecting. And for, like I said, this video has been wanting to be born for a while. And all of my creations now are given to me, or you could say downloaded. I don't know. I don't even know the right terms for this stuff. I live it, but I don't really read about it per se. So everything is given to me as this is the highest. And, I live my life as a universal conduit. That's what I am. I'm a universal instrument. So it's like, make me an instrument. What's in my highest and best good and the highest of all concern. And so the information comes through, and that's how we create. But if you're not here in your body, in your beingness, then you're not able to receive that wisdom, that clarity, the downloads, whatever you want to call it. Even I know a lot of people that receive a lot of information and they're like, I don't know where to begin. Getting clear is important, and remembering that you don't have to do it alone. And I'm not just talking about like doing a session with me, but I have an amazing universal team right now. I call it my universal business team that has been helping me to, you could say, put everything I'm creating into a linear format, so that I know what step to do. I don't have to sit here and try to tune into everything. I just say, you guys bring it to me. That's right. So that's a little look inside my world. But no, so I'm going to just share a thing that a friend sent me, just because it all pertains right now to this. And if you are on that self-realization journey and you get kind of stuck, a lot of people that I know get stuck kind of not wanting to connect with others, and I totally get that because I'm the same way. And so it's amazing that I'm doing this work now, that I'm like, hey, I'll do some free sessions, I'm making videos. But the more we just open up and let that universal flow come through and be open to show me what's next. I'm always a show me what is in my highest and the highest. So I'm not going through any mental filters, because my human mind is like, I don't want to do free session. I don't want to do this Shavasana series. This is hard. I don't like the old conditioning that I have has a lot of arguments about the work I'm doing. Okay. But every step I take, it's like amazing how I'm watching all the old comfort zones and old fears go away. And as I open up and I do these things, it's bringing people into my life, people that are bringing me opportunities that are connecting with me, and it's beautiful. It's like a celebration, and it's like soul family. So I'm probably the biggest hider. I know, the girl whose family forgot that she was born because she would run and hide and was a weird kid in school. And here I am opening up to the world and connecting with everyone. And of course, it's been a journey, but I just want you to know, if this relates to you, there is so much beauty in going beyond those comfort zones. And of course, being discerning who you're connecting with. Feeling into it in your heart, in your solar plexus. Feeling, I go through that feeling thing. If I'm on the fence for anything, I know my body will never steer me wrong. It's my best friend. So, and then also when you have that clear connection with your voice, your essence, and your knowingness, it's like, I get these things all the time where I'm, hey, Kathy, let's do this. And I'm like, oh man, I don't want to do that. Yeah, I'll do it. I'm to that point now where it's like, oh my God, that's going to be a lot of work. Okay, I'll do it anyway. Or, oh, I've never done that before. All right, I'll do it. Okay. So living like that has just opened up so many doorways for me, so many gifts, so many people I would have never met, so much love from somebody who was afraid to connect with people, talk to people, to being able to connect and celebrate and enjoy life. It's amazing. And that, I just know that if I can do it, anyone can. So I just did a breathing session with a friend who reached out, somebody I had never met before. She's quite far along on her journey, in many ways, way more experienced than me with all this multidimensional stuff. She's an amazing multidimensional being that probably has a lot more clarity on certain things than I do. But we just connected, and we simply breathed together. We talked twice, but the first time we just mostly decided to breathe together. And then we did that a second time, and we chatted a little bit. And I think the chatting's nice because you have a few laughs and whatever, kind of shakes the energy up. But, just a reminder that when you connect with people, so much is going on beyond the mind. It's not really about, I like eating apples. Me too. Oh, let's talk about that, or I like the sports team, or I don't, or I'm spiritual, so am I. It's not at all about that old human stuff. There is so much that goes on with an energetic exchange. Even sometimes when we smile at somebody, I walked across the street the other day. My daughter had a volleyball game, and I put my headphones on and walked for 30 minutes downtown before the game. And I walked past this guy, and I smiled at him. I had my headphones on. He smiled at me, and it was this, I feel it in my heart, this soul connection. And it was like, almost brought me to tears. And it was like, there was an exchange. There was an energetic exchange from our light realms, from our higher levels. And this goes so beyond the human mind, and I'm not going to try to define it. I don't have it defined in my own mind. There are people that write books on this, and that's wonderful, but I have the essence of what's going on, but not always the words for it. So never underestimate if you get a nudge to go somewhere that you're like, well, I don't like ice cream. Why would I go to the ice cream shop? You might just be meeting someone that you never speak a word to, but you make a difference in their life. So this message I got from, again, this is just a new friend that reached out to me the other day. And she said, I want to thank you for your presence. Something lovely is happening with my emergence and leaving the 16th century and creating a command station. I just know that some of your patterns give me hope that I can function here with great honor and appreciation. Thank you. How beautiful. And all I did was show up and breathe and laugh. And it was fun and it was awesome. And I met somebody really cool. And so I heard some words for it when she shared that, but it was like a light encodement recalibration that we were doing together. So this goes into our light bodies and certain things that we've already embodied and integrated and sharing them with others, and without a word we can share that and it helps us all to quantum leap. It's amazing. So when I got that, I was like, I have no idea what that even means. That 16th century thing. I've seen and done, even again, beyond my mind, without trying to do it, a lot of what do you call them, soul retrievals, things like that. But so much happens now, at least for me. I do energy work, but I don't have to do anything. It happens naturally. If you're familiar with Reiki or things like that, the energy work that I do often just happens, and I'm aware of it happening, more of the awareness of it. But she shared that with me. I would have had no idea. And so just never underestimate your presence in the world. So that's the other thing I really want to share, because I know a lot of my amazing friends who have gone through this experience are sensitive to energy and don't necessarily want to go and dance around in big crowded areas or whatever. But, just keep in mind, it's not like saying it's bad to go off and do your own thing. It's wonderful. But keep in mind that your presence, your connection with other people, it could just be somebody in passing that you nod at, that there's an exchange. Don't underestimate how sacred and beautiful and important your presence is, your beingness in this world. You matter, every one of you. It doesn't matter if you are new to this work and you're like, what is she talking about? We all bring a certain energy, and when we connect with others, there's an energetic exchange. It's like I share something with you that you need, and you share something with me that I need, and that happens beyond the mind. We're all energy workers. We are all energy workers, and it's amazing. So it's been quite a transformation. I hope this helps you guys a little bit, at least give you some clarity on the energetics of hiding and going out in the world. And again, taking all the time you need to get really clear, feel your presence, your breath, your essence, whether it's time in nature, whatever you need to do to feel yourself, I say go for it. Always love yourself. Whatever you are doing, the most important thing is to never, ever, ever, ever judge yourself. The code that I live by is absence of judgment. Judgment is the only thing that creates density and causes emotions, and judgment, you could call it identification also. But really, beyond all of that, there is freedom. And really knowing your importance and your worth and your value in the world can definitely help bring that out, I hope. So feel that. Let's all just take a breath together and just feel, how important you are, because you are. Your presence is a gift. It's a gift when you connect with somebody, and it's a gift whenever we get to come together. So let's take a breath together. Big inhale. Exhale through your mouth, just releasing any tension. Bring your awareness into your belly, deep, deep in your belly. Let's breathe in here again. As you exhale through your mouth, let your shoulders drop, jaw release, eyes soften, shake it out a little bit. Feel your hips. If you're sitting, really wiggle, feel the weight of your hips. Let's get down into our bodies. So one more big deep breath in here. And then a big exhale. And a few deep breaths. Keep breathing deeply here as I wrap up. So I hope on one hand you are inspired to take some time for yourself and get really clear and start opening up and connecting with your essence, your spirit, your soul, your true self, your beingness. That part of you is pure love. It is simply, if there's one thing you can do, I mentioned to be judgment-free is kind of the code I live by, but call it self-acceptance. Accept everything about yourself right here, right now. To just say it, I fully accept everything about myself. Because your mind is going to go, oh no, there's a lot of stuff wrong with me. But you, your essence, your soul, your spirit, your source consciousness accepts everything about you. It accepts and embraces, it actually appreciates everything about you. Even the days you're a little bitchy, yep, it appreciates that too. Everything is seen from a divine light of benevolence and acceptance. So never forget how important your presence is. Enjoy your time alone, but when you feel the nudge or the urge to connect, to open up, to go out, to go beyond your front door, to show up and talk in front of people, then go beyond it. And sometimes, if you're me, you just gotta say, if I just throw up and I barf all over myself, so be it. At least I tried, right? So do what works for you. But I hope this shined a little light on the difference between hiding away and opening up. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste.